All right, moving on. All week, we've been bringing you stories from the world of narcotic drugs. Tonight's guest lives by two words: legalize it. That was his platform when he ran for mayor of Vancouver and when he ran for parliament. But ever since he got busted shipping pot seeds to the U.S., he's been on the run from the law, U.S. law. They desperately want Canada to turn him over. Joining us now from Vancouver, Marc Emery. Marc, thanks for joining us.
I'm glad to be here.
So, the question really is, what did you think would happen if you were going to ship pot seeds by mail order to the U.S.?
Well, ultimately, I expected the DEA and the Attorney General of the United States would try and come and get me, which they've done. I mean, after all, I'm at war with the United States federal government. The whole idea of selling these seeds is to overgrow the U.S. federal government's war on marijuana. It's to empower the marijuana people with money, with plants, with self-sufficiency. So it's a great agenda to liberate people. It's a great agenda to upset the United States government, too.
We're talking about the Bush administration here. You know that.
Oh, of course, and of course I'm one of the many targets they have out there in the world who are leading a campaign against them. I believe that marijuana should be legal, it should be everywhere, it should be common. We shouldn't have to go buying it from inner cities, from black market dealers, from the prohibitionist environment that the government's forced us all to deal with. So I have always believed that marijuana should be legal, so I act as though it is legal, and what I'm doing is just and honest and truthful, and so I have no fear that what I'm doing is anything wrong.
I think people respect that, but they also realize that the Canadian government now more than ever has been closer to the Bush administration in terms of their anti-drug laws. Are you scared on any level of what's going to happen?
First of all, I'm not scared in the least. I've never been frightened, and if I spend the rest of my life in a United States federal prison, and that's what they want to get me there for a minimum of 35 years. They call me a drug trafficking kingpin. The DEA says I'm responsible for 1.1 million pounds of marijuana being produced from the seeds I sold. They've called me perhaps the largest marijuana producer of all time in the history of the planet, and I'm very flattered, and I hope it's true, because 1.1 million pounds of marijuana is worth $2.2 billion, and there aren't many people in the world who can say I've enriched our community by $2.2 billion. So once again, the United States is accusing me of things I'm eminently proud of, and I dare Canada to send me to the United States. If they send a person like me, who gave away every dime I ever earned to charity and good causes, including $4 million to charities in the last 10 years.
They're not going to look at that, though.
But if Canadians can stop this by appealing to Justice Minister Vic Taves and say, don't extradite Mr. Emery, charge him here in Canada if you believe he should be charged. After all, I did this with everybody's tacit approval and consent in Canada from 10 years, from the Income Tax Department, who knew that my only source of income was from marijuana seeds, to every politician who either came to my home, came to my conferences, came to our organization events. Everybody knew in Canada what I was doing, and I never received one complaint in 11 years from anybody.
Yeah, you're also talking about the Chrétien government. So has the government reacted now to you? What kind of support are you getting from them?
Well, we're talking to people in government. Libby Davies has been very supportive. The NDP caucus is very supportive. Leader Jack Layton is supportive of not extraditing to me. And of course, these are good things to have happen. I appreciate their support. But more importantly, I am daring the Canadian people. If you can send someone like me, and I consider myself a good Canadian who's always done right by everybody in this country. Nobody can say they were ever harmed by me. There are no victims in this case. The United States government has not found people who are saying that they were harmed by my actions. There's none of that. There's hundreds of thousands of consenting, satisfied customers who are happy growing marijuana. There's just a crazy, punitive, fascist government in the federal government of the United States that's seeking to wreak havoc on all the marijuana people. And I'm proud to be their representative. And if I'm the one that has to go down, if I'm the one that the Canadian people are willing to sacrifice to the rapacious appetites of the federal government of the United States, then so be it. I dare them to do it.
Is there a different approach to this that you could take that could work for both you and them?
No. We need confrontation. We're up against an unholy enemy in the White House in the United States and in the Congress, and it's plaguing the entire world. The entire world's being made miserable by the United States federal government. We can see it in every corner of the earth, and this is just one more corner that's battling everlong against the U.S. federal government. Until we are triumphant, this conflict will continue.
How has life been for you in the last year since all these charges came about and all this happened?
Terrific. The DEA has done what, of course, the opposite of their intended their intentions. They've made me more famous, more well-known. I'm on 60 Minutes again in a couple of weeks. 60 Minutes, the audience there was 12 million viewers to see their very sympathetic story about me. I'm in editorials and media all around the world, from the Australian Broadcasting Company to the BBC. Everybody around the world is covering this story and continues to cover it as it develops. So it's given me a larger audience than ever before. It's given me a bigger group of people I can count on for support. I'm very happy, and I'm getting married in 3 days to celebrate a year to the day the DEA raid, and I'm happy to get married to my co-editor at Cannabis Culture magazine.
Great.
And I am feeling better than ever before. Haven't felt bad since the day they raided me.
You know what happens next for you besides the wedding, though? If you lose, you're gonna fight this. If you win, are you gonna go back to selling pot?
Oh, goodness gracious, no. First of all, it's going to be a long battle. I have a court hearing, an extradition hearing, next March or April, and then from there we have to appeal. If I lose the extradition hearing, we have to appeal to the Justice Minister to save my skin, and the Canadian people will have that responsibility in their hands because they can virtually do it. And then if I lose at that point of appeal, then I can go to the BC Court of Appeal, and if I lose there, I've lost, and away I go for the rest of my life. Canadians will never see me alive again, and so be it, if that's what they want, because I have laid my cards out on the table. I've told people what I've done for this country. I consider myself a patriot. I've paid tons of taxes. I never cheated anybody of a dime. There are no unhappy people involved in this relationship except me and the United States federal government, and the United States federal government is evil, so I'm proud to have them as my enemy.
Always good to talk to you, Marc. Thank you.
Good to be here. Thanks.